So welcome to the lecture on human evolution. So during the evolution unit, we took a look at what is evolution, the change in the allele frequency of a population over time. And then we look at the lines of evidence for it. We had the fossil record, the anatomical evidence, the molecular evidence, the biogeographical evidence. All these different lines of evidence point towards evolution as the scientific explanation for the diversity of life on Earth. And we can see that we looked at the horse evolution. We talked a little bit about whales, and we could go into plants and all sorts of species and look at how they've evolved. And what we want to do here with this last lecture in evolution is talk about humans. How did we evolve? Where did our history come from? Where is the human evolutionary line? And what evidence do we have to support this from a scientific perspective? So this lecture is usually the most controversial for a lot of people. Quite often people will say, yeah, bacteria evolve and they change, but I don't think people do. So this information here is presenting human evolution in the scientific perspective, what we know as scientists about human evolution. Okay, so to start with human evolution, let's back up a bit and take a look at us. We're mammals. We have all the necessary features to classify humans as a mammal. All right, so we have hair, we have milk, we have the basic mammalian features. And when we look at mammals, mammals first showed up in the evolutionary record about 200 million years ago. So we could start back at mammalian evolution and start 200 million years ago, and then start looking at, okay, so what was going on Earth 200 million years ago with mammals? They were struggling, they were small, they were these little shrew-like creatures, and then, boom, Cretaceous calamity, fifth mass extinction, dinosaurs disappear. At that point, mammals had an opportunity. There was less competition. Mammals underwent adaptive radiation, massive diversification, and major evolution, and produced all the major lineages of mammals that we see on Earth today after the dinosaurs went extinct and the Earth went through that big fifth mass extinction. So after that big mass extinction, we see mammals diversifying, and this is when we see the earliest evidence of any type of primate-like mammal. Okay, so mammals as a group are 200 million years ago, but our earliest primate types of mammals are not showing up on Earth until about 60 million years ago. And at the same time, we see tropical forests dominating the landscape. So primates adapt to tree life. That's the key feature about primates. They all are adaptable to life in the trees. And mammals were adapting to life on the ground, mammals were evolving into life in the ocean, mammals were evolving to flight in our bats. All these different groups of mammals are starting to take over the ecological roles that dinosaurs used to play. But our focus with human evolution is looking at the primate line, because humans are mammals and we are primates. We have all the basic features of primates. So when we look at modern day primates, prosimians and New World monkeys, Old World monkeys, the Asian apes, the African apes, we all share common features. Okay, so I want you to think about all these apes and monkeys and prosimians, all of these primates, and think about what is similar across all of us. That's what makes us primates. Then we'll talk about, well, what makes humans different than the others. Okay, so start out with, let's look at similarities, key features. You're using it right now. You're using opposable thumbs. Right? All primates have an opposable thumb. Your thumb can cross over your palm. That's a primate feature. If you guys have cats or dogs, call them on over, take a look at their feet. 5 digits, 5 fingers, 5 toes. but they can't cross it over like us. That's a primate feature. It gives us the ability to grasp and hold on to things. We can hang on to branches, we can hang on to tools, we can hang on to food, we can hang on to our young. It's a huge adaptation, structural feature that evolved in mammals that became tree-dwelling mammals, that became the primates. Now we do have other tree-dwelling mammals. Think about squirrels. Those guys live in trees, but they're not as adaptable as a primate in the trees. That's why squirrels spend a lot of time on the ground and back up into the tree. Primates, some of the primates, are completely tree dwellers. They never touch the ground. Or if they do, they hit the ground and they're back into the tree instantly. Okay, so the opposable thumb is a huge feature. In all the primates except humans, they also have an opposable big toe. But we don't. That's one of the things that makes us different than the other primate relatives of ours. Okay, second feature. Let's look at our eyes. All primates have forward-facing eyes. Look at the position of the eyes on the primate's head. We see forward. This gives us overlapping fields of vision and three-dimensional perspective. So we can judge depth much better than animals with the eyes on the side of their heads. So living in a tree, if you're jumping from one branch to the next, you better be able to judge that distance. If not, you're probably going to miss the branch and you're going to die. So you start adding these features together, and this continues to show why primates are so adaptable to tree life and what made us successful in that environment. When it comes time for reproduction, the vast majority of primates will give birth to a single offspring. One baby tends to be the norm, sometimes two. Very few primates have multiple children. The prosimians sometimes have 4 or 5, but we don't see 30. We don't see 10 primate babies during a single birth event. So one kid, it's a blessing and a curse in the primate world. When we talk about conservation, when we talk about endangered species, having one child is not good because it's hard to sustain big populations. But when we talk about parental care, talk about trying to ensure the survival of your young, one child is very beneficial. I can take care of that child. I can carry them around. I can protect them. But more importantly, I can teach them. I can show them what's safe to eat. I can show them how to get away from danger. I can teach them things. And that's a big, big feature of primates, all primates. They are teachers. They will take care of their young. They will teach them, and they will nurture them and help them grow and develop much more than any other species on Earth. It's not unique to humans. You see Mother Baboon. She will take care of that baby for 2 to 3 years, nursing it, teaching it, protecting it, helping it survive, just like humans do. Okay, so it's a huge primate feature. Now, yeah, other species do this. Cats will take care of their young, dogs and birds, etc., but not nearly to the extent that primates do. So those traits, living in the trees with your eyes, your thumbs, and one child, really increase the success of the primate line as tree-dwelling species. The last major feature to mention is, in general, primates have a large, complex brain. Okay, so pound for pound, we tend to have a large brain relative to our body size. So big brains do not guarantee smarts. Big brains give you the opportunity to be smarter, to develop more neural connections, to be able to think at a higher level. So you start stacking all these features together. Hands, eyes, complex brain, single young, and it shows primates were on the path to becoming a very successful group. Okay, so when we look at the primate family tree, the evolutionary history of the primate family tree, we're shooting back roughly about 60 million years ago when we look at when primates first showed up. And then from there, we see these branches. Now the prosimians, the lemurs, the tarsiers, these are the oldest primates. The first ones to shoot off the branch, the evolutionary tree. These guys are still pretty, if we want to use the word primitive, compared to other primates. Yeah, they don't have the same complexity as the apes. They don't have the same social structure and things like that as the apes and humans. They're functional, they're adaptable, they do a great job, but those are evolutionarily the oldest primates. Then we get into the New World monkeys, the Old World monkeys, and then eventually this branch that shows up producing the apes. Within the ape world, we see gibbons, we see orangutans, we see gorillas, and then eventually we get this branch over here that would lead to chimpanzees and the hominids. Now it's not just us human beings that are on Earth today, it's the hominid line. So keep in mind, this took millions of years from this fork here to eventually get to where we're at today. Just like it took millions of years for the chimpanzees to get to where they're at today. So when we look at human evolution and we talk about the primates, humans, modern humans, and chimpanzees are cousins. We're related. We did not evolve from a chimp. That is flat out wrong. It's a misperception about human evolution. We didn't evolve from a monkey, because monkeys are right here. They're contemporaries of ours. Do we have a common ancestor back here? Yes, absolutely. But that ancestor was not a monkey. That ancestor back here was not a chimp. It was a primate, but it's not what we see today. So when people say, oh, I don't believe humans evolved from monkeys, I agree 100%. We did not evolve from a monkey. We evolved from a common ancestor. It wasn't a monkey, it wasn't a human, it was a different ancestor. That type of argument against human evolution, saying I don't think we came from monkeys, is equivalent to saying I don't think I evolved or I am born from my cousin. It's a nonsense argument. It doesn't work that way. We did not evolve from monkeys, we did not evolve from apes. We evolved from common ancestors that were different. They were primates, but they weren't monkeys, they weren't apes millions of years ago. Okay? But do we all share relatedness? Absolutely. Just look at all the traits and features that are common across all primates. That's due to common ancestry. All right, so we want to focus again primarily, let's focus in and drive down into the hominid ape portion of the family tree. You could spend an entire semester over this one topic here and another semester over just this topic, but we're only going to just kind of hit the surface of it and look at the general big picture of it. So at some point, it's estimated approximately 6 to 10 million years ago, the hominid ape line split. Okay, so that fork happened in the evolutionary tree somewhere between 6 to 10 million years ago. What caused it to split? We can come up with lots of speculations. We can come up with lots of different hypotheses, but we're not sure why. We're not sure. Was it environmentally driven? Was it behaviorally driven? Was it something, speciation event? Probably all of those. But to pinpoint exactly why we split, that's a tough thing to figure out. But the key is all primates share common ancestry starting back as mammals, and then primates about 60 million years ago, and then hominids, which humans are part of, and apes share common ancestry that goes back 6 to 10 million years ago. It's at that point we see the split. So what we want to figure out, and we'll talk about in our next lecture, what makes us different than an ape? When we see the split happening, what qualifies something as a hominid versus going down the ape line? So we'll start exploring that in our next lecture as well.